Harry wiped the luminescent grime off his mop, watching it swirl down the drain of the Celestial Palace's west wing. 3 years as a janitor on Velora Prime, and he still marveled at how alien filth could glow in the dark. The Valorans were a proud species, tall, crystalline beings whose bodies refracted light into dancing rainbows. Their empire stretched across 14 star systems, and their royal family commanded respect from 100 vassal worlds. But even emperors needed janitors. Human. A soft voice called from behind an ornate pillar. Harry turned to find Princess Orla, the Emperor's youngest daughter, clutching something against her chest. Unlike adult Valorans who stood nearly 8 feet tall, Orla was small, barely reaching Harry's shoulder. Her crystalline body was still developing, showing hairline fractures that would eventually seal into the flawless surface of maturity. "Princess," Harry said, giving a respectful nod. "Shouldn't you be in the learning chambers?" Orla's inner light dimmed, a Valorian expression of sadness. She extended her hands, revealing a small mechanical creature. It was a Zephyling, a toy companion given to every royal child on their naming day. This one's wings were bent, its photonic core flickering weakly. "Broken," she whispered. "Father says it cannot be fixed. Says I must learn that broken things are discarded." Harry's jaw tightened. He'd heard the Emperor's philosophy before. Perfection or nothing. It was why damaged art was destroyed. Why imperfect servants were dismissed, why the Valorans had never understood human resilience. "May I?" Harry asked, holding out his hand. Orla hesitated, then placed the Zephyling in his palm. Harry sat down cross-legged on the polished floor, pulling a small toolkit from his maintenance belt. The princess settled beside him, watching with wide, prismatic eyes. "See this?" Harry pointed to a tiny gear mechanism. "It's not broken, just misaligned. And this wing? Just bent, not shattered. Your father sees endings where I see adjustments." His weathered hands worked with surprising delicacy, straightening the wing, realigning gears, cleaning corroded connections. He talked as he worked, explaining each step in simple terms. Orla leaned closer, her natural luminescence brightening with curiosity. "On Earth," Harry said, "we have a word, kintsukuroi. It's from old Japan. When pottery breaks, they repair it with gold, making it more beautiful than before. The break becomes part of the story, not the end of it." 20 minutes later, the Zephyling's wings fluttered. Its photonic core blazed, steady and bright. Orla gasped as the tiny creature lifted from Harry's palm, circling her head with joyful chirps. "You fixed it." She threw her arms around Harry's neck. "You made it perfect again." "Not perfect," Harry corrected gently. "Better. See that slight wobble in its left wing? That's character. That's proof it survived something." Orla pulled back, her crystalline face tilted in confusion. Then softly she said something that made Harry's breath catch. "Like Papa would do." Before Harry could respond, she was gone, the Zephyling trailing behind her like a comet. The next day, Prince Kael found him. The boy's crystalline form was already developing the sharp angles of Valorian nobility, but his shoulders sagged under some invisible weight. "The human who fixes things," Kael said formally. "I require your services." In his hands was an ancient star chart, a holographic projector passed down through generations. Its surface was cracked, its projection fragmented. "The Keeper of Archives says it's beyond repair," Kael said, his voice carefully neutral. "But Orla says..." "She says you see differently." Harry took the device, noting how Kael gripped it like a lifeline. "This belonged to your grandfather?" "Great-grandfather. He was an explorer before becoming emperor. Father says I should forget such childish pursuits and focus on conquest and administration." Kael's light flickered. "But when I hold this, I feel like I could be more than just another perfect heir." Harry worked on the star chart while Kael watched. He bypassed burned circuits, rerouted power through secondary channels, and used adhesive from his toolkit to stabilize the cracked housing. It wasn't a professional repair. It was a patchwork of human ingenuity and stubbornness. When the projector finally blazed to life, showing ancient star routes and undiscovered worlds, Kael's entire body radiated pure joy. "You didn't give up," the prince whispered. "Never do," Harry replied. "That's kind of humanity's thing." Kael hesitated at the doorway. Orla was right. "You're like what a papa should be." Word spread among the royal children. Princess Lyra brought her damaged music synthesizer. Prince Torin brought his collection of broken geological samples. each one catalogued with heartbreaking care. Princess Sarah brought a torn storybook that her tutors had declared garbage. Harry fixed them all. He worked during his breaks, during his lunch hours, sometimes late into the night. The children would sit around him, watching his scarred human hands work miracles they'd been told were impossible. He taught them about improvisation, about creative problem-solving, about seeing potential instead of just flaws. They started calling him Papa Harry. At first quietly, then openly, the Emperor summoned him on the 37th day. Emperor Velos sat on a throne of crystallized starlight, his massive form perfect and terrifying. "Explain," he commanded, "why my children prefer a human janitor to their own blood family." Harry stood straight, mop still in hand. "Because I fix their toys, Your Majesty. We have royal craftsmen. We have master artisans. You have people who create perfection," Harry corrected carefully. "I fix what's broken. There's a difference. My children must learn that weakness is unacceptable. Respectfully, Your Majesty, being broken isn't weakness. Staying broken is..." "Your children are learning that things worth keeping are worth fixing, even if the repair isn't perfect." The Emperor's light flickered through a spectrum of colors Harry couldn't interpret. Finally he spoke. "My youngest brought me her Zephyling yesterday. She told me it was more precious now because it had survived breaking. She said she learned this from her papa." His crystalline eyes fixed on Harry. "She meant you." Harry met his gaze. "I never asked for that, Your Majesty. I just couldn't walk away from a sad kid with a broken toy." The silence stretched for an eternity. Then Emperor Velos did something unprecedented. He laughed. It sounded like wind chimes in a storm. 3 years you've mopped my floors. Only now do I see why humanity conquered their own broken world and reached the stars. You don't accept endings," he stood, descending from his throne. "Harry the janitor, I name you Royal Mender. Your duty is to teach my children what their perfect tutors cannot. How to survive imperfection." Harry blinked. "I'm still going to clean floors, right? I like the quiet." The Emperor's light warmed with something almost like fondness. "You may mop whatever you wish, Papa Harry." That evening, Harry sat in his newly assigned workshop, still small, still humble, but filled with broken treasures waiting to be loved back to life. Orla perched on his workbench, swinging her legs while her Zephyling performed aerial tricks. "Papa Harry?" she asked. "Why do humans fix things instead of replacing them?" Harry smiled, selecting a tool for his next project, Prince Kale's damaged telescope. "Because, little princess, we know something your people are just learning. The cracks are what let the light in." Orla's entire being glowed brighter, refracting rainbows across the workshop walls, and Harry went back to work, doing what humans did best, refusing to let broken things stay broken. ND.